Welcome. You've got emo stuff. SADurdays on Planet Radio
106.7
with Hunter deBlanc.
Planet Radio 106.7, the best rock on the planet. Welcome back to SADurdays. That's right, SADurdays. I'm Hunter deBlanc, playing all your favorite emo, pop punk, anything adjacent to all that Warped Tour era's music from the early 2000s. You'll hear it all right here, Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time. And you may know my guest this week as the singer of the band Plain White T's. But this week, you can check out the brand new album titled TV by his solo project, Million Miler. With me this week, we have Tom Higgenson. Tom, how are you?
What is up? How are you, man?
I'm great, brother. I'm great. It's good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I'm really digging the sounds and all the production on the Million Miler. And I'm going to hope to get to ask about some of those influences in a little bit. But I like to go back to the beginning of things, if that's okay with you.
You got it.
And since I'm wearing a piece of unofficial,
hey, nice,
some unofficial merch from the band,
I've got the plain black tee.
You got
right
the
now,
evil,
so,
the evil
yeah.
version. How did the band get such a fashionable band name?
Well, okay. So to be honest with you, back when you're, 18 years old, you're not really like thinking too deeply about much of anything. So it was like, okay, cool. I had this group of buddies that we were playing music with. It's like, oh, let's start a band. Cool. What's it going to be called? I don't know. We thought of a bunch of like pretty crappy names, and Plain White T's was just one of the names that we thought of that kind of we all didn't hate. We were all like, oh, that's kind of cool. That sounds cool. And so we just went with it. And, I guess once you name the band, you're kind of stuck with it, I guess. But I love the name. It reflects back in a good way. The whole point of a Plain White Tee is that it's kind of timeless. It's like they were wearing them back in the 1950s. They still wear them now. Never goes out of style. It's always very simple, but very cool. So it just kind of like, we thought at the time, like, oh yeah, that's kind of reflects our music. And I think, yeah, to this day, it still does. So I'm happy with the name. But yeah, there wasn't too many crazy arguments or conversations about it. It was just the best name that we could think of within a few weeks, and we just went with it.
Well, it is a great name. And I'm sure when everybody hears Plain White T's to this day, they think of Hey There, Delilah. But my brain has been conditioned to think of the album Stop.
Oh, yeah.
I see the stop sign. That was my introduction to the band, was Stop. And I'd like to just ask, who were some of the band's musical influences during the time of writing this album? I know it was the second album by the band. And I would say that while Hey There, Delilah may have taken y'all to the next level, of fame and being, that song just being so massive. This was the album I felt like really broke out for Plain White T's. This was the one that I remember hearing on all the forums and everything. Who were some of the band's influences when you guys were recording this album? And you guys also self-financed the recording of this album. Is that correct?
We did, yeah. We recorded it, honestly, with in our friend's basement on ADAT tapes. So it was all, none of that was recorded digitally. It was all on tape. It was like literally we would sing a vocal, sing a verse, listen back. Was it good enough or not? If not, sing it again, listen back. Sing it again, listen back. Okay, that's good enough. Let's do the chorus. It's like we totally pieced the album together. And I think our buddy was 16 at the time that had all this equipment in his basement.
Wow.
So Stop was, technically engineered by a 16-year-old, which is pretty funny. Wes Kozakowski, shout out. At the time, man, I mean, Jimmy Eat World was a huge influence for us. We love them, still love those guys. They actually brought us out on some of our first, I don't know if you'd call them tours, because they were just a couple random shows here and there. But we went to Canada the first time with Jimmy Eat World. We played Montreal. I think we played Quebec City and Toronto for our very first time with Jimmy Eat World. So they were we were kind of broed down with them pretty early on, but we loved them in that Stop era, especially. You can definitely hear it in that album. Fall Out Boy was our bros from Chicago here. We've always been inspired, even with the name Plain White T's, always been inspired by oldies music as well. The Beatles, even music from the 50s, Buddy Holly and things like that. So I feel like that's been kind of a common thread in all of our albums, but definitely back then, even though it's a little bit more of a pop punk sound, you can definitely kind of get a little bit of those 50s kind of references in the melodies and stuff. Smoking Popes, a big Chicago band, big influences on us. So yeah, no, that's just off the top of my head.
Well, we're going to let our listeners listen closely for those influences right now. We're going to play the opening track to the 2002 album Stop right now. This is the title track off of the album Stop by the Plain White T's right now on Planet Radio 106.7.
Welcome. The band's Warped Tour.
Oh, hot topic. When did this open?
2 weeks ago. It used to be a banana republic.
You guys on MySpace or?
You're listening to SADurdays. All of your favorite emo and pop punk songs, both old and new. With Hunter deBlanc on Planet Radio 106.7.
Planet Radio 106.7. Welcome back to SADurdays. I'm here with Tom Higgenson of the Plain White T's. And also you can check out a brand new album by him titled TV by his solo project Million Miler. And Tom, for our cover section, Covers for Lovers, we're going to play the Plain White Tee cover of Surface Pressure from the Disney, right off the Disney compilation, A Whole New Sound from the movie Encanto. How did you pick this cover?
Well, they came to us and said, Disney kind of hit us up. We actually do like an annual gig at Epcot at Disney every year. And it's like one of the most fun shows we play all year. It's so cool. So we love our Disney stuff. So they came to us and they said, hey, we're thinking about putting together this compilation of like getting a bunch of like pop punk and emo bands to do Disney covers. And so we were obviously like, dude, yes, we're in. They asked us for like, what songs would you want to do? And we gave our wish list. I think we might have been a little bit late because like we kind of stalled on it maybe because by the time we released it, like obviously like Part of That World and like A Whole New World, those are like some of my favorites. Those were already taken. But when I watched Encanto when it came out and that song Surface Pressure, I was just like, damn, this song is so good. Like as I was watching the movie, it just stuck with me. And so we threw that one in the list and no one had picked that one yet. So they were like, yeah, you guys can do Surface Pressure. And we were like, oh, hell yeah. And then when it came time to like get in the studio and record it, trying to learn that song, man, was like way harder than I expected. Like Lin-Manuel wrote that thing. I don't know. There was a lot more lyrical and melodic movements and it was just way more difficult than we expected. So, but I think we pulled it off. I think we were real happy with the way it came out and Disney liked it. They didn't have any, comments or revisions. So we made it our own and it came out really fun.
Well, we're going to let our listeners hear it now. And guys, if you check out Plain White T's at Epcot this year, you're definitely going to hear this one.
Oh yeah, we got to play it now, right?
Oh yeah, you guys need a feature on and they need an Encanto ride featuring Plain White T's.
There you go.
So this is Surface Pressure off of the Disney compilation, A Whole New Sound by Plain White T's, right here on Planet Radio 106.7.
Winamp. It really whips the llama's ass.
Now loading emo and pop punk music.
Welcome.
Planet Radio 106.7. Welcome back to SADurdays. We have a brand new song segment called Damn Son, Where'd You Find This? And for that, we have Tom Higgenson, and we're going to be chatting about his solo project, Million Miler, and the brand new album TV that just dropped. So Tom, we're going to play Light at the End of the Tunnel. And dude, the production on this album is awesome. I am such a synth guy. I love the production behind this. You produced all this yourself, correct?
I did. Yeah. I've been, over the last few years, I did some of the songs on the latest Plain White T's album as well. I produced. So yeah, I've been kind of getting into it. And Million Miler is definitely my passion project as a solo project. So I could really just take my time and sit there with headphones and kind of mess around as much as I wanted to until I got everything sounding, the way I heard it in my head, pretty cool.
Who are your influences behind this? I'm hearing a lot of 80s influences, if my ears do serve me correct on this.
Yeah, so Million Miler actually I started this project in the pandemic, and it was definitely like an ode to like 80s synth pop. Like the first album that I put out was much more kind of nostalgic feeling and, yeah, kind of even thematically, it was about like kind of looking back I had a song called Kids in Love. I had a song called High School Summer. It was kind of in that like that world of just like that, really synthy, nostalgic vibes. And for this new album, I wanted it to still have all of that, but I wanted to make it feel a little bit more fun and energetic and more, I don't want to say the word modern, because what the hell's modern nowadays, but definitely been a little bit more inspired by some more like hyper pop stuff, like bands like 100 Gex and Underscores. I don't know, groups, artists like 100 Gex and Underscores. Dev Lemons is a friend of mine, and she's so amazing. She does
love Dev. I love Dev. Yeah.
So just kind of incorporating more of that stuff into, kind of blending 80s synth pop with like hyper pop. Basically is kind of the vibe on this new album. And actually Light at the End of the Tunnel is probably one of the more 80s leaning songs on the album. It kind of doesn't really stray, although some of the drum sounds are definitely kind of more fun and more hyper poppy. But yeah, this song is definitely sounds like it could have been like an 80s banger for sure.
I'm obsessed with the intro lead to this song. It's crazy, man.
Dude, thank you. What's funny is a lot of this stuff comes like in production. I lay down just kind of, I usually write all the songs, even though they're all synthed out and kind of glitched up and stuff. I write all the songs on an acoustic guitar still. That's kind of my... There's
no Juno or anything, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I just sit there with an acoustic and get the idea out. And then I sit down and I usually will just start with like, I'll go through some like loops and some beats and I'll pick a sound that I like and just create kind of a beat. And then I'll just lay down the chords. I'll find a cool synth pad, lay down the chords, and then I'll lay down a vocal usually, and then I'll kind of fill in the gaps, make a cool bass line, and just kind of have fun with it, edit stuff around, change, a guitar part. Like actually the guitar part in this song too, I recorded it totally differently than it is on the track. I like cut it up and like moved it around and like kind of played with it until it sat in like a way cooler place and like was a way cooler rhythm. So it's like I'm really enjoying the production side of it, putting in like a real instrument and then like fucking with it. And can I say that? Sorry.
I can bleep it out.
Yeah, sorry. But manipulating it, to kind of make it even cooler, kind of a thing. And yeah, that synth lead. So my point is going into the song, I didn't think there was going to be a synth part at all, a synth lead. I was thinking I would start with the chorus, and then I had a totally different arrangement. And then when I started kind of laying in the chords, I kind of had this idea for the melody. It was a lot simpler than what it was on there because I just kind of kept going back and like messing with it a little bit. And I had that, there's a couple little quick a couple of quick jumps there that I was like, after a while, those weren't in there when I first wrote the riff. It was just more simple. And then I kept hearing, I'm like, oh, what if it did something like that? So then I'd go in the MIDI and I'd try it and mess around with it and like, oh, that's cool. And then I'd walk away and I'd come back and like, oh, it should do one more of those or, so it was kind of just a fun, again, being able to produce it myself offered me that time to like, just really live with it and sit with it and just really make sure everything was just how I wanted it, So definitely a great experience recording this album, and I love that you love this song because this is definitely one of my favorites too.
Oh man, I'm obsessed with this one. So we're gonna let our listeners hear it now and to talk about what a different production process as opposed to recording Stop, right?
Oh my God, yeah, the exact opposite.
Yeah, instead of recording
still, this is funny though. Just a dumb interjection here. I kind of relate this album to Stop. In the sense that when I wrote Stop, I was literally like in my first ever like real relationship. So I was going through all the ups and downs of like young love, first love. And so that entire album Stop was like written like a diary entry. It was like literally something would happen in the day with my girlfriend and I'd go home and I'd write a song about it. And that's what Stop was. And with this new album, kind of went through and still I'm kind of in the middle of a little bit of like girl drama and stuff. And so every song on this album is literally a direct response to, this girl, basically. So in a lot of ways, it really feels like it connects to me the way Stop did way back then. So kind of funny that you keep bringing up Stop. Yeah.
I love a full circle moment like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, guys, here's our little full circle moment right here on the radio station. This is Million Miler. That's Tom Higgenson's new solo project off of the album TV. You can check it out right now, anywhere you can listen to music. This is Light at the End of the Tunnel, right here on Planet Radio 106.7.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Planet Radio 106.7. Welcome back to SADurdays. I'm here again with Tom Higgenson of Plain White Tees and also his solo project Million Miler that you can check out. The new album TV available right now. And Tom, you knew this was coming. Man, I got one question about Delilah. This year has been quite a year for that song. We've had an AI cover of the song by Drake. That was something. How did you guys feel about that?
So, you know what? I think it was real, man. I don't think it was AI. I think it was real. Yeah, when I heard it, I was like, there's no way this is real. This has got to be AI, you know? But I think like he performed it live or something. There's like footage of him singing it. So I'm pretty sure that was real, which kind of makes it even crazier, obviously. But yeah, I thought if we could ever collab with Drake, that it would be, I didn't think that would be it. You know, I expected something different, but again, yeah, crazy year. I feel like with that song, Hey There, Delilah, there's always something. I feel like the song goes viral somehow, like every 6 months or something.
I agree.
You know?
I agree. It's a song, it has stayed in the ether and just stayed in the popular eye for 2 decades now. Has it been 20?
Wild?
So
wild.
That was the last song on that album. Did you guys know as a closing song that it might resonate? You know, a closing track on an album is rarely, especially back in those days, all the popular songs tried to get put on the front of the album because iTunes or whatever it may have been. Putting this song at the end of the album, was that a thematic choice? Was that a production choice? Was that just how you guys felt about that it was a perfect closing track for the album?
You know, honestly, like the albums that like we loved, they always Weezer Pinkerton ends with was it My Butterfly? You know, Nirvana end with Is There Something in the Way, right? Nirvana Nevermind. It's like a lot of those bands from like way back in the day when we were getting inspired by music, they'd be like more like hard rock bands, but then they'd end the album with like an acoustic song. So like that was kind of about as much thought as we put into it. Like we knew Delilah was a good song, you know, we all loved it, but certainly never thought it was going to be pushed as a single or go to the radio or anything. So to us, it was just like, oh yeah, we got that acoustic song. Like that'll be like the last track. It'll be like that's just where you put those songs. I don't know. That's kind of as much thought as went into it. Yeah.
This song has definitely changed your life, I imagine.
Oh yeah. I mean, you could say that for sure. Definitely.
Well, Tom, I want to thank you for chatting with us. We're going to let our listeners hear Hey There, Delilah by Plain White Tees right here on Planet Radio 106.7. And don't forget to get the fuck out there and check out Million Miler right now as soon as this is done. Tom, I want to thank you for chatting with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And yeah, everybody out there, thanks for listening. Love you guys. There'll be Million Miler shows coming up, and along with, of course, more Plain White Tees shows in the new year. So I'll be around. Come find me. Come say hey.
Come check him out. That's Tom Higgenson of Plain White Tees and Million Miler. This is Hey There, Delilah, right here on Planet Radio 106.7.
You're listening to SADurdays. All of your favorite emo and pop punk songs, both old and new, on Planet Radio 106.7.
Goodbye.